People talk about the forbidden door. It's a proper noun. It's vernacular. But if you are an industry journalist who covers what we do and you disagree with anything that I say here tonight, you're not a journalist. As this generation likes to say, check the receipts, check the dates. Before there was a forbidden door, I was the one who built it.
You're listening to Talk AEW, the official wrestling podcast of GoombaStomp.com and TiltMagazine.net. I'm your co-host, Mariko McDonald, joined as always by my co-hosts, Mr. Aaron Santos.
Hello, WrestleManiacs.
And of course, the editor-in-chief of GoombaStomp.com and TiltMagazine.net, the ravishing Ricky D.
What's up, Miro? What's up, Mariko? What's up, Aaron? What's up, Danhausen? What's up, Darby Allin? What's up, Sami Guevara? What's up, Jungle Boy? What's up, Garcia? What's up, CM Punk? What's up, Cody Rhodes?
Yeah, what's
up?
up?
Oh, boy.
Very nice introduction into the podcast this week. Very smooth. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get professional when we talk about Mr. Cody Rhodes because he's like the best there ever was, the best there is, the best there ever will be.
In his own mind, at least.
Yeah.
That was an easy joke. I love me some Cody, but
yeah, I love
we'll get to it in the main event. Because, somebody made some big news this week.
Mm-hmm.
But first, I think it's time for Ricky's question block.
It is that time of the week in which I answer all of your pressing questions. Can I use the word pressing, burning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most alarming.
Almost sounds like you should go see a doctor for it, but...
Right.
We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about Mr. Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes in the main event. So we're going to start on a happy note. Did anyone else think that the CM Punk promo once again this week was maybe the best thing about Dynamite yet again this week?
I mean, he cut a hell of a promo.
It is hard to say, but that was definitely one of his best promos. It was one of the best opening promos I think we've ever seen.
This is a trick question. So do you think it's the best thing on the show this week?
No.
But it's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
It was pretty damn
pretty
good.
amazing.
Yes.
I love, for anyone who didn't catch on, the callback to Greg the Hammer Valentine versus Roddy Piper.
Mm-hmm.
They basically, once and upon a time, had a dog collar match, which is why CM Punk mentioned, "Will you be my Valentine?" I noticed a lot of people on Twitter did not understand the reference, and I had one person mention on Twitter that they thought they believed that the show was recorded before Valentine's Day.
Well, it was. I mean, that feud was in the 80s, man. I was like, depending on the target audience. I mean, maybe 18, 20-year-olds might not catch it. Who knows? But it is a deep
anyone
cut.
under 30 is less likely to necessarily know that.
Yeah, it's a deep cut.
Do your research, kids. Learn your history. Respect your elders.
So we've had one dog collar match in AEW. It was a pretty amazing match between Brody Lee and Cody Rhodes on an episode of Dynamite for the TNT Championship. I love that match. I do believe it made our list of the best matches of that year. Are you a fan of these type of matches? And do you think that this is something we will see as sort of like a staple for AEW moving forward?
I think it's like any stipulation. It does kind of depend on the circumstances.
Yeah.
Something like a dog collar is meant for the very baddest and brutalist of feuds, and I feel like this is a good one, paying homage to Valentine and Piper. Amazing. And yeah, we needed something really brutal. We don't really need another cage match. We have no DQ matches all the freaking time right now. So it's something to pull out on a pay-per-view for like a really, really high profile nasty feud. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So excited.
Yeah, plus what Mariko said. I mean, like, given the circumstance, he did mention in the promo that, like, if MJF given the fight in the cage, you could climb up the cage. You could, there's a chance to run away. But in a dog collar match, it's like there's nowhere to run. You guys are tethered together. So it does paint that very brutal picture that Mariko was alluding to.
I honestly thought they were going to do some sort of blood and guts, sort of like Hell in a Cell match, because when he mentioned there would be nowhere to run,
right?
Like for whatever reason, I never thought about the dog collar match,
right?
When they had the previous dog collar match between Cody and Brody, Greg the Hammer Valentine was there. It was during the pandemic, so there was very few people in the audience, but he was in the audience. Yeah. I love how MJF walked out and he basically had nothing to say because at the end of the day, CM Punk won the match last week with John Mox, and therefore he gets to call the shots.
Yeah.
He gets to decide what kind of match he wants to have, where, and when. And there's really nothing that MJF can say.
I love the acting job that MJF was doing because, like, he genuinely looked like he had his feelings hurt.
Yeah, I know. I thought he was gonna cry or something. Like
I felt really bad for him.
It was great. It was. Yeah. I know. You're like, why am I feeling bad for this guy? He's an asshole.
Yeah.
Because he's digging deep into his childhood. He pulls out the photograph, and that is what made the segment so amazing. Because he has
actually
having
the actual photograph. That was amazing.
Not like a digital still on the screen, an actual photograph that he's holding. Like that
really made that promo. Honestly,
it's like nostalgia. It's memories.
Plus that line that CM Punk said, like he's like, oh, for MJF, this might have been like the best day of his life. For me, it was just a Friday.
Tuesday, yeah.
Oh, Tuesday. Was it Tuesday? Yeah. I was like, oh.
No, it was a Friday.
Was it Friday?
Oh, yeah. Okay. It was a Friday, but I think in the original quote, it's like it was Tuesday.
Yeah, the original quote is a Tuesday. Yeah.
Oh, but that was good.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, that he's such a punk. He's such an ass. Like everyone loves CM Punk. Poor MJF. He's a victim.
Gosh.
He's a victim. He's misunderstood, Aaron.
Right.
This is his idol, his childhood idol, and he treats him like crap. Why? Because he beat him twice? CM Punk is now a loser, okay? And he's going to lose again. You know why? I think he's going to lose the match because here's the thing. So, if you want to position MJF for the world title, he cannot lose to CM Punk, at least not fair and square. So one of two things has to happen. Either someone interferes like Wardlow and therefore causes MJF to lose the match because he can't lose fair and square against Punk, and or Punk wins. I mean, MJF wins.
Yeah, but we've seen MJF lose clean to Chris Jericho. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
That was before he was chasing the title. That is what I honestly believe. I don't know about you, Mariko, because it would bump him down.
Yeah, well, it really depends on timing. Because there's more than a few people in the title picture right now.
Yeah.
So where MJF gets slotted in, if it's not for another year, he's got time to recover from this for sure.
You know how sometimes you watch the movies, you're watching a movie and you're trying to figure out who the bad guy is, or the movie makes you think that so-and-so is the bad guy, but the bad guy the whole entire time was right in front of your eyes, but you were just too naive to notice? Yeah. That's CM Punk. That's CM Punk, Aaron. He's the bad guy here, not MJF.
Yeah, I mean in your own world, sure.
CM Punk gets paid too much money and it's causing problems in the locker room. Moving on.
Here we go. Okay.
So, what did you think of the match between the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, and Lee Moriarty?
Loved it.
There
wasn't a bad match on the entire show.
No, there wasn't. There wasn't a bad match at all.
Everything was fire. Did I just answer all your questions? Everything on last night's show was fire to the point where I turned to my husband and I said, Cody,
this is too good.
I am constantly shocked and surprised, even though I shouldn't be, about how good the American Dragon's matches are. Not because I know he can do amazing things in the ring. It is Brian
That
Danielson,
headstand
aka
spot, that was ludicrous.
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah, like what do you call that sort of like move? It was some sort of like octopus tangle.
I just see a bunch of parts contortioning and people just like,
And then they're both on their heads, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah, just a lot of like limbs bending further than they probably should.
Is it just me, or was this like the most homoerotic match we've seen on AEW so far?
I don't
Like there was one moment
There
where
were a couple moments where, yeah, the mount was very romantic.
Yeah, but I feel like Daniel Bryanson, like he uses a lot of like floor and mat techniques. You know, like it's very close, very like
he
I
was
guess-
straddling Lee Moriarty for a
Yeah.
large chunk of the match.
no, for real, like no, for real, Aaron, like he was lying on top of him, like
he was-
like 2 minutes.
he was holding his ground. I mean, you know, like
I'm just saying, it was very
Greco-Roman
romantic.
wrestling. I don't know.
It was a romantic octopus.
Two things
tangle.
could be true at the same time, Aaron.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought this match was amazing, though.
But if I could just like give my critique, like one thing about like Danielson's matches is that a lot of like these submission holds and like the way he just bends the limbs of these opponents, like it just makes me like want irk. Just because for me personally, like I have like a really bad shoulder and I just keep picturing like if I was in that pose, man, I would have probably dislocated my shoulder so many times.
That is why you need to do DDP yoga.
No, I'll probably dislocate my shoulder also just doing DDP yoga. So
maybe, but I have an actual like real question here. So John Moxley came out, he cut a pretty damn good promo, and at the end he said he wouldn't partner with the American Dragon because he wants to see him bleed first, but he partnered with CM Punk last week. So am I missing something? Did something happen in their past?
Match. That was for one match.
mm-hmm.
This is a business relationship.
Yeah.
So there's a bit more on the line. So he just wants them to be on the same page and to wipe each other's blood on each other and become blood brothers.
Mm.
Because I know CM Punk pooped his pants when he wrestled with Mox. Remember we talked about that 2 weeks ago? This is like way back.
Okay,
way
back in the indies. Oh, it was Mox he pooped his pants with.
Yeah, we talked about this like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I remember.
Well,
I told
heard
you
That's
about
right,
it.
get out,
He pooped his pants,
remember
but I didn't know who he was wrestling.
because there was an interview with. You know what? I actually remember who it was now. It was Chris.
Van Vliet.
I forget his name now.
Van
Chris
Vliet.
Van Vliet?
Yes. So he was on his podcast and he was talking about on his podcast. Yeah, that's where I heard about it. Yeah.
I think half of all wrestlers have a pooping story.
Yeah.
So I have.
'Cause I've heard
is
more
it
than a
just
few.
me? Is it just me? And I ranted about this yesterday on Twitter. Every time Wardlow wrestles, they cut to a super long commercial break. Every single time it's Wardlow. Am I just exaggerating, or
I've not.
I feel like everyone gets a commercial break, so
Right.
I don't know.
no? I don't know. Maybe. But I just like every time Wardlow's wrestling, and it's a good match because in this case he wrestled Max Caster. It wasn't like some sort of like squash job.
Yeah.
Right.
And they cut the commercial, and I know they have to cut the commercial, but it's like they cut the commercial for so long, and I notice that a lot of times it's when Wardlow is wrestling. I also thought this was a fantastic match. I hate to grade matches, but so far I'm going to give every single one of these matches an A. And I think the reason why this match was so good, apart from the fact that Wardlow's in the match and he's just amazing, but it's the storytelling and also the ending and what happens post-match. Like the way he power bombed Anthony Bowens, and like forget about Max Caster, but like I don't know. Wardlow is just, he's quickly becoming my favorite wrestler at AEW. Like, he's on the top 5 right now. He's moving up the ladder. Watch out, Sami and Darby.
It's just gonna go up higher and higher.
Yeah, I can't wait for them to pull the trigger on this. I love that they're drawing it out, and it's just gonna be that much more explosive when it happens. But yummy, yummy, yummy! Can't wait.
His storyline reminds me a lot of Batista.
Yes.
When Batista was climbing up and he became like a main event guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's incredible. You know, we're going to talk about Cody Rhodes in the main event, but I always thought that if there was one big sort of like superstar from AEW to go to WWE, like the first guy, I always thought it would be MJF and or Wardlow.
Yeah.
That's still, well, I guess it's not a possibility anymore, but I mean, them going there is still a possibility, but not for a while.
Yeah, for sure. So, do I want to talk about Adam Page? Like, don't get mad at me, but I really want to know, do you think Adam Page is the least interesting world title champion we've had so far? Like, I know he's had some great matches, but in terms of his stories and character.
Right.
I feel like he kind of maybe just got lost in the shuffle a little bit with all the recent signings and then all this stuff with Red Dragon and Adam Cole and blah, 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 blah.
Well, Adam Cole addressed it. He's like, where's your friends? Where's the Dark Order?
Well,
Where's
yeah,
Kenny?
now that's becoming part of the storyline, because they referenced on BTE too, like the Dark Order and Hangman aren't really hanging out anymore. So I think we just got a little lull in the story while other stories were heating up, but I think it's really gonna heat back up again. Honestly, he's been the story that's carried me through, the start of AEW.
Right, but like,
well,
as
yeah,
an
no,
actual champion.
they need to do something, but we're getting there. There's just so much in play. To the point where,
Aaron?
like, it is possible for a belt holder to get lost in the shuffle briefly.
No.
So, Aaron, like, we can all agree he's had some amazing matches, but in terms of his story and character, where do you think he fits with the 5 world title champs we've had in terms of a ranking?
I think right now, up to this point, since Lance Archer, like, I would agree with you that, like, it has been a bit of like a lull. But now, with Adam Cole in the picture, I mean, I think it's starting to pick up. And, and plus, like, the storyline that Adam Cole is in makes things way more interesting, especially, like, how he doesn't know who to side with, like, who's his friends are.
Friends
blah, blah,
or
blah.
his new friends or his old friends or his old friends.
Exactly. So, like, I could see, I mean, like, I feel like the end product would have to be like, Adam Page gets back with the Elite. I mean, that's
okay, but you're still dancing around the question. So we've had 5 world title champs, right? We've had Moxley, Omega.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
to be fair, he's had one defense, so like,
right, which is a problem.
Yeah. I mean, like,
I said, there's so much else going on.
He has the world title. Like,
I know, but it hasn't really been that long. You're trying to compare him to people who've held
it's only been
belt
November
for
when you
months and months and months and had multiple defenses and storylines. We've had one defense. Like, it'll come. I think this Adam Cole storyline is going to be fantastic.
I mean, it's only been November, so that's technically what, 3 months? Well, 2 months, 3 months. So it's moving. It's definitely moving slower than the way Kenny Omega built it. But if you think about John Moxley's run, it hasn't been faster than how Adam Page is going right now.
Nope.
So
I still think Jericho had the best run. Like, not the best matches, but in terms of him being in the spotlight, having time to shine, being on the main event, cutting promos.
But the thing is, as Jericho, he would get all that whether he had the belt or not.
Speaking of Jericho, does anyone else think that Jericho and Mr. Jake Hager are such great shape now compared to 2020 and 2021.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they're looking good. Well, apparently, Hager's been fight training, so that's why he's so lean
Cut.
right now.
Yeah.
Like, Jericho has improved. He is looking good for someone who's what, 50?
51.
51 and was pretty out of shape during the pandemic.
Right.
With reason,
right,
but
right.
you know, yeah. I also thought this was a great match against the great Santana and Ortiz. I'm also kind of shocked that they got a clean win. Was anyone else shocked about, like,
Were you really?
No, they had
really
to.
shocked?
They had to. That's the storyline.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
We all want them to have the belts, and to do that, they have to do it clean.
Mm-hmm.
And they're capable of it.
I am looking at, like, maybe Double or Nothing. They'll be the new tag team champions.
That
We'll
would be
see.
incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not surprised that Chris Jericho would take a pin, because he's taken a pin for a lot of up and coming stars like Darby and Orange Cassidy, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Because it was tag team action, I thought, like, maybe there would be interference. I honestly thought that Jake Hager would turn on Jericho, and it would be sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for when everyone turns on their leader?
Mutiny.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
mutiny.
you. Yeah. Yeah, solid in-ring action. I thought I didn't like the finish, because they hit, like, a big finish prior to the actual finish, but he kicked out, and then he didn't kick out of, like, the actual finish, which wasn't exactly the most devastating move.
Well, it was a lariat, but
yeah, but it wasn't, like, well executed. Like, because earlier on he kicked off, it was like a near fall.
Yeah, it was
What
slightly
happened? It was,
mistimed, and they had to kind of redo it, so it did look
It was a
awkward.
street sweeper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. All in all, great match. Now you liked every single match, Mariko.
Yep.
Which is fair, except I had issues with the next match, which was Mercedes Martinez versus Thunder Rosa, only because Mercedes Martinez almost, like, killed, like, crippled Thunder Rosa.
I feel like that one, I'll admit, that was the one kind of not good point. The ending felt rushed. I wonder if someone did actually get injured. It was very short for a no DQ match, which, you know, whatever, it's on TV, like, I get it. But there was something about it, like the back-to-back botches by Mercedes Martinez. Yeah, it wasn't good.
Listen, the German suplex off the top rope was so scary, I was shocked that Thunder Rosa wasn't paralyzed. It scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, she took it more in her shoulders, like Kenny style, but she couldn't have been feeling good afterwards. But the other one, I think she got a concussion. Like, I seriously couldn't tell if she was selling or if she, like, stumbling around because she was selling, or if she was concussed. So yeah, you're right. There was a bit of a dud. It's kind of colored because I love Thunder Rosa so much, and that Nashville crowd was so hot and not rowdy. Like, they weren't rude or mean.
Well, there were some dumb signs, though.
Yeah, there were one or two dumb signs,
yeah.
but, like, but the tone of the crowd, like, it wasn't, like, especially during the final match where, like, everyone was cheering for both competitors, which is amazing.
Okay, so now's the two most important questions of this podcast. Are you ready? Okay, question number one. When Martin Kove showed up, did you for a second think that was Dave Meltzer?
No.
Really?
Well, we're very loyal Cobra Kai fans, so.
So am I. I mean, I wrote all the reviews on our website, and for some reason, the last thing I expected was for like an actor on Cobra Kai to just show up on AEW Dynamite.
No one expected it, because I'm watching Britt Baker, and I'm like, oh, wow, look at that sweet vintage Cobra Kai t-shirt she's wearing. Where do you get a vintage Cobra Kai shirt? Like, oh shit, it's Martin Kai. What?
For, like, I would say, like, a split 5 seconds, maybe even 30 seconds, I honest to God thought it was him. And then I realized who it was. I was like, oh, wow.
No, you almost
No, my brain was already in Cobra Kai because I spotted the t-shirt. And then when they said Sensei and he walked in, I was just like, ah!
Mm-hmm.
But he looks like him. Like with a quick glance?
Maybe.
Like, no, Meltzer's like at least a foot shorter, and his shoulders are probably about twice as wide.
Yeah.
He's kind of a little stocky guy.
What I want out of this, man, is Britt Baker calling her faction the Cobra Kais. That's what I want.
Well, Aaron, the most important question of the night. So, of the 3 dojos in Cobra Kai, do you think Britt Baker made the right choice and chose the right dojo?
I mean, for a heel character, sure. I can't really say anything more to that. I mean, like, it just because of the fact that, like, now that she's hanging out the Cobra Kai Sensei, I'm like, I think it just fits. I don't know.
Aaron, what is the motto of the Cobra Kai?
No surrender, no mercy. Was I right?
Strike first.
Strike first. Strike fast. No surrender. No mercy.
I can't remember anymore.
There you go. Mariko got it.
I just remember no surrender, no mercy.
Yeah.
Strike first, strike fast, no surrender, no mercy.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that is it. No, for sure she chose the right dojo. What are you kidding me? Like, what else are you going to choose? Like, hell yeah.
Ralph Macchio? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, she's a heel. She's a heel. Come on.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, amazing. Like, I want to see the whole entire cast of Cobra Kai show up now and kick ass. Like, I'm like, look, if we got the whole entire cast of M&A and Dan Lambert and his whole like group of like fighters, I want to see the whole entire cast of Cobra Kai show up. It's going to be amazing. Do it at Revolution, a Battle Royale, whatever tag team match. It's going to be incredible.
Dude.
It would be. Yeah, I'm not even joking. It would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sick.
Also, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Melissa Joan Hart.
Right? I was a little confused by that, though. I'm like, was she...
Apparently, she lives in Nashville, and I guess she knows someone who was like, hey, you should come to the show, and we'll put you in the front row.
Yeah, I was a little confused by that. I was like, is she a wrestling fan?
Honestly, by the look on her face, I don't think so.
She was traumatized.
She looked confused. She looked shook.
Yeah. All right, and closing off the question block, we need to talk about Sami Guevara and Darby Allin, who wrestled on the big stage, the main event for the TNT Championship, and holy shit.
Yep.
Well, okay, first of all, was this the best match of the night, or was it just the best performance in terms of like what Sami did?
I mean, just fuck. I don't know. Like,
insane bump after insane bump after insane bump after insane bump.
Yeah.
But properly done, not like the Thunder Rosa Mercedes match where it was scary and you thought someone would get injured. Like, they knew what they were doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Sami did bust up his knee because he landed on his knee, but he was also wearing a knee pad, thank God. But like, you know, when he dropped Darby Allin on the actual ropes from the top rope, I don't remember seeing that move ever in my life watching professional wrestling.
Well, I mean, it was that belly. Was it a belly to belly off the top rope, where Sami landed on his shoulder, but did smack his knee on the floor?
Well, he did the Spanish fly from the top.
Oh, that was it. The Spanish fly. I mean, that was a rough landing, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he also did the senton.
Well, I mean,
my God, that was insane.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that made me think like someone was gonna die.
The thing about the AEW ring compared to WWE is that it extends further past the ropes, right? Mm-hmm. So you can do more moves, sort of like hovering around.
Yeah,
the ropes.
But it doesn't mean that the edge of the ring is less harder. Jesus Christ! Did you hear the thud?
It was insane. He did a senton bomb at the edge of the ring.
I mean, I literally screamed in my living room like, "Oh shit!" No, that was a sick. That was sick. I mean,
I thought this match was incredible. I love the ending. I mean, like, look, Andrade hasn't really done much since he arrived at AEW, but now I think it's starting to pick up. They finally
mhm.
found a way to use him, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see him feud with Sami and with Darby. And I just loved how it ended. I mean, technically, Darby had the win. He just had to hit the coffin drop, and he would have had the win for sure.
Yep.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they did say that Sami has never beaten Darby in AEW, right?
I believe so. He lost his last match with Darby, I think. No, for the TNT Championship.
So yeah, he's never beaten
No.
Darby. He's wrestled Darby 2 or 3 times, and he's never beaten Darby Allin, except for now because of the interference. Yeah.
I mean, I believe that would be like the storyline for Sami, right?
Also,
Just
the Tope Suicida,
Mhm.
which was countered by Guevara.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. With
What
the cutter.
hell's going
That was
on
insane.
here?
Mhm.
Incredible. Okay, a few more things I got to mention here in the question block. Okay, so lots of rumors of new wrestlers, big stars headed over to AEW. Who do you think we're going to see in the next, like, say, a few weeks? Because we did have a tease of Mr. Malachi Black mentioning that there was someone at the door, meaning they're going to have someone enter the House of Black.
I mean,
So there's a lot of rumors about various wrestlers coming to AEW. So if you had to like name 2, who do you think like you would put your money on?
I mean, right now I'm just going by the buzz that it might be Buddy Murphy, but
Oh, interesting.
but who else would I? I swear at first glance though, like I thought it might have been Julia Hart, but
Yeah, because I was wondering, like, yeah, maybe the Griff and Brian.
right, exactly. Like one of the people that he like sprayed the black mist to, because I thought that was gonna be a thing, but then you're starting to hear, the rumor mill starts spinning outside, and then it's
Yeah,
like,
because I'd also just heard this week that Tony Khan, like, specifically said we are not going to be doing any more signings for a while, but
yeah.
I don't know if that includes like people he signed who he hasn't, debuted yet. So I don't know what that means exactly.
So you think someone like Buddy Matthews would become a member of the House of Black?
Yeah, I mean, he feuded. I mean, I believe that they had a close. I mean, him and Malachi Black had a close relationship back in WWE, and they had one of the best matches in Raw, apparently, which I've never seen though. So
Yeah, I mean, everyone says it's pretty much confirmed he's coming, but I was like, I'm still kind of holding on to hope that Bray Wyatt will show up eventually.
at this point, no, I don't know if he's ever gonna be in AEW. I don't know. At this stage, there's too many big stars. I mean, where would Bray Wyatt fit in at this point?
I mean, it's not about only chasing championships. It's about, I mean, you can win over a crowd. You can win over a crowd just with a good story that does not involve championships. So I understand that we only have a certain amount of belts to go around, but look at Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston is a prime example. He's super over, and he's wrestled for a belt once.
But it's not even about belts. It's just about screen time. Like,
yeah, I mean, like if we're gonna talk about like Bray Wyatt, I mean, we're gonna talk about like his use of like I guess dark imagery or like I guess like horror stuff, but like we kind of have Malachi Black for that. Do we need more like dark stuff going on? I don't know.
Well, no, like, I mean, I don't know. You don't know if he's going to do the same sort of gimmick.
Right.
He could totally reinvent himself, but I think Mariko's right. Like, it's like we talked about this last week, so I don't want to repeat everything we said, but it's starting to feel like as much as I love the 1 hour format of Rampage, I would like be okay with 2 hours and then 2 hours of Dynamite and get rid of the YouTube show. All right. Well, the last question is: did everyone love Thunder Rosa's Kill Bill outfit?
Yep,
Yes.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty amazing. All right, that is it for the question block this week.
All right, on that note, it's time for a quick break and a word from our sponsor, Grey Cat Apothecary. That's Grey, Grey Cat Apothecary, maker of fine soaps and natural skincare. GreyCatApothecary.com.
Someone told me to save this promo, but I honestly don't know if I'm gonna get the chance, so I'm gonna do it now. In that interview, that was the first whiff of a revolution. He laid out a road map. He listed things that for him, for somebody like me, were taboo at the time. Things like going to New Japan Pro Wrestling, working with Ring of Honor. And ultimately, he would talk about teaming with the Young Bucks. As destiny would have it, as fate would have it, he was unable to do those things, but he would join
Well, it looks like there's been enough talk. It's time for the main event.
And we're back on Talk AEW for the main event. And this week, we're going to be talking about what everybody's been talking about. The Codiness of it all. Cody Rhodes, Brandy Rhodes officially leaving AEW.
Did anyone see this coming?
Yeah, what? Him leaving?
Yeah,
Well, it's been rumored and talked about for a while now because he never signed his contract.
right. But you'd expect them to. You would have at least signed it. I mean, dude, you're the EVP of a company.
Well, the reason why I did not expect it this week was because last week Brandy Rhodes came out and was basically starting a brand new storyline because she got in the ring with Dan Lambert and what's her face attacked her. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess they're sticking around.
Yeah.
Because why would you start a new storyline if like you might end things? Because when he wrestled Sami, it was like, okay, if you are going to leave, it's a great way to leave the company. You wrap up this amazing sort of feud with Sami. The first match you wrestled on Dynamite, the first match of Dynamite was with Sami.
Yeah.
And then here you are, your last match with Sami for the TNT Championship.
It ends up being beautiful bookends.
Yeah.
Yes, one of the greatest matches ever in the company. So if you ask me after that night, I would have said there's a possibility. If you asked me after last week's episode, I would have said hell no, because Brandy started a new storyline.
I don't know. Like I just didn't expect it because it's like, first of all, like this is a company that he helped build. He was in the forefront of like, the inception of AEW. So like I just would have never expected this to happen.
I'm sort of exhausted just thinking about this and reading about it and seeing it pop up on my Facebook feed and my Twitter feed and my Instagram feed. I was talking to someone on Twitter about this. Well, a few people on Twitter. And like, the thing is, nobody really knows. Like, we're not in his head. We're not in Tony Khan's head. It's not really our business. But I will say this, okay? I'm just going to tell you, and you guys can tell me how you would react. But if I was working somewhere and I helped start the company and I was one of the best workers at the company, and they hired some new employees. And yes, maybe these new employees had like some credibility, had star power, whatever, but they were getting paid way more money than me. And I asked for a raise after being at the company for 3 years, and maybe I don't get what I want to get. I think I would be upset and maybe start looking to work elsewhere because I would think that, hey, I helped build this company. I deserve it, right?
Yeah.
So we don't know. Now, we don't know if that is the case. Like, is it because he didn't get enough money? He wanted more money? These are all rumors. I'm just saying, if that is true, I mean, that's a valid reason to want to leave. And the second thing I'm going to say is, if I was working somewhere, I would work somewhere for less money if I was happy and felt appreciated, right? But if I was working somewhere, even if I started the company and everyone in the US of A was booing me week after week and my wife, and I felt like nobody liked me and I wasn't getting the money I wanted, then I would also maybe think of moving to another company where he can have a fresh start and make the big bucks. Again, we don't know if he's actually going to the WWE.
Do you think he's gonna get cheered going to the
I
WWE?
mean, that really is the story, and I think that's really what people are reacting to. I mean,
Mhm.
the way you laid it out, like, of course he would, try to better his position. But as far as money goes, I mean, maybe they were able to do something, but you know, WWE has deeper pockets.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is, for WWE, if these rumors are true that that's the direction he's headed, and that's why he didn't sign the contract, was because he had much better offers already on the table,
Mhm.
or was I get the impression that everyone was kind of negotiating three-way with a bunch of lawyers.
Yeah.
So from AEW's perspective, like, yes, you want to keep him, he was a founder, but you do have this giant roster of talent that
Mhm.
are equal or better than Cody. As much as Cody has done, and as great as he is, and as great as those matches are, there are other people now who can do a lot of that at AEW. For
Yeah.
WWE, luring someone away from AEW and getting that in the news media
Mhm.
is worth millions and millions and millions of dollars
Oh,
to
yeah.
them, and that's why they gave the money to Cody.
And it's not just someone; it's a VP,
yes,
someone who started the company.
Yes.
It's not just like Vince. If this is happening, it's not like Vince is getting like Jungle Boy.
Right.
It's like and Vince McMahon loves it when people challenge him and prove that they are good businessmen, which he's done.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like saying, "Oh my God, Tony Khan backstabbed Cody. He didn't
No.
appreciate Cody." You don't know this. Like, maybe he offered Cody a huge sum of money, and maybe Cody just decided to go elsewhere. We don't really know. Like, people can't just like start going on social media and saying bad things about Tony Khan, because you don't know. Like, maybe he offered him like $10 million, $5 million, like, well, not 10, but 5.
No.
Who knows?
Yeah.
And maybe Cody just decided to go to WWE. I have a theory, but before I tell you the other reason why I think he left, I just want to know, Aaron, what do you think played into it? Was it money? Was it the fact that everyone hated him? Is it something else?
As far as like everyone hated him, I mean, you're a wrestler. I mean, he must have gotten used to. You have to be thick-skinned when you're dealing with like live audiences, crowds, everything. I mean, like I don't think it's the.
He said he didn't want to turn heel because, and this is weird because everyone does it, but he's really into doing charity work now.
Mhm.
And he thinks very old school, right? And so
Yeah.
he can't do. He says he can't become a heel and then go do charity work and break out of character.
Well, that's perfect. I mean, if
but
he
he
doesn't.
could do that charity work with 9 other heels in the company.
Yeah, but I'm also thinking of like the John Cena situation. I mean, like he did all of these promos of like supporting the troops and everything, and people booed him for it, but he still did his thing. Granted, he must have been getting like millions from like WWE. So
But the reason why I asked this question is because, again, remember, he had the amazing ladder match with Sami, and a week later, Brandy's in the ring cutting a promo and trying to start a new storyline,
Right.
and then they decide to leave. So do you think that maybe that was the straw that broke the camel's back, where they realized, hey, there's no way we can't even like get over like Dan Lambert, like maybe we should look elsewhere? Or do you think it's just about
I
money?
don't think so. I think it it really has to be about money, because you mentioned about like how you're the original employee, but you got these new people, new shiny toys, but they're getting paid more than you. I mean, I think that definitely had to be a factor.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, can I tell you my theory?
mhm.
It does tie into money, but it's not just about money. I think it's a lot of things. Okay,
Of course, everything is.
Yeah.
exactly. Like it's not just black and white. But I think if I had to choose like the 3 things, and again, I'm not in Cody's head. I'm just what I think. What if? Okay, so Vince offers him a bit more money, whatever that is. Maybe he's getting paid the same
And a
amount of money.
WrestleMania match and a
Mhm.
push.
Yeah, WrestleMania match. same amount of money as, like, say, Randy Orton, for example, a push. And he gets away from AEW because it's just not working for him and Brandy because they get booed like as soon as they walk out.
Yeah, you can't.
I don't know.
You can't.
But just hear me out. I'm just saying it's a combination.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But here's the big factor. You mentioned John Cena. What is John Cena doing right now that everyone's raving about?
He's in movies. He's in TV.
He's in Peacemaker too.
He's in Peacemaker. Yes.
Guys like The Rock, Batista. What is Cody all about? What does he want to do?
He's Mr. Hollywood.
Yes, he's actually taking acting classes.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to be in movies. He's got TV shows.
Yeah.
That's
even
the ticket.
The reality show
Mm-hmm.
is really just Miz and Marie in Atlanta.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Marie,
but
sorry.
With WWE, it opens up so many doors to Hollywood.
Yes. And I'm sure they offered Brandy some kind of reality show deal, or the next season of Total Divas will be all about Brandy.
From some reports, she's not going to be involved with WWE at all.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is just this is all a Cody thing.
Do you think that they would pay Cody more money to not have her follow Cody?
No.
to WWE?
No.
Here's an extra $1 million. Leave your wife at home.
No. I don't think so. I mean, if they really wanted Brandy, I think they'll take her. I mean, like, I think.
Really, I don't think Brandy's that great of a wrestler to wrestle WWE. Even in AEW, she's like one of the least talented in the roster compared to everyone else, like Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb and Hirsch and you name it. She's like at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, but it's on-air talent. Like, you could make her a GM or something.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. She could be a valet, a GM, an announcer. She could be in a reality show for sure. But I just don't think she's. I mean, can you imagine her in a ring with, no offense, like Sasha Banks, like Charlotte Flair, like. I mean,
you know what? But she did have a career in NJPW, so like, I think she could. If she's good, I honestly don't know. I've
seen her Ring of Honor matches. No.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think Vince McMahon would.
She has a lot of talent. Wrestling isn't one of them. Like, she's fine, but she's not a top tier talent, and she never will be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like,
well, Aaron, are you upset that he's leaving?
I'm not upset. I'm more shocked. I mean, like, whatever decision someone else wants to do, and I'm gonna say, like, Cody Rhodes might not be the last person to do it in AEW.
Okay, I'm upset because, hear me out. I've always said he's one of the best wrestlers in AEW. He's had 3 of the best matches in AEW. He had the incredible cage match with Wardlow when he pulled the moonsault from the top of the cage. He had the incredible dog collar match with Mr. Brody Lee. For the TNT Championship. And he had the incredible ladder match with Sami for the TNT Championship. He's also been a part of what I think is still the best storyline in the history of AEW, his feud with MJF.
Yeah.
So I am upset that they're losing Cody because, like, I could think of a lot of wrestlers I would prefer to lose over Cody Rhodes. I would pay Cody Rhodes $5 million to stay.
But the problem is, like, Cody Rhodes, like, I don't know, we've criticized him so many times with what he's been doing lately. It's like, right? I don't know.
But then he had that great ladder match with Sam. Like,
he did.
Up until he started to come back to Cody we loved with his feud with Sami. So he was slowly making the comeback that we wanted to see him. Well, he made the comeback. He had the low
character
point
versus
with
in-ring work. Like, he's always been a good worker. It'll always be a good match when Cody's there. But, his ability to connect with the audience is at a serious disadvantage right now. And, like, honestly, he was going to need a repackaging.
And I thought
somewhere,
and I thought he was willing. He did look like he was showing shades of heel, so I thought it was just all a work at some point.
Right. I mean, it's so weird because, like, you see him on Dark with Too Fast, Too Fuego, and he's a completely different person. But when the spotlight's on him, he turns into a completely, like, egomaniac, sort of like daddy issues, all kinds of issues spilling out into the ring, things people don't want to hear. Like the last promo he cut was terrible.
Yeah.
Like it was all over the map. Okay, so now Mariko, is there any chance in hell this is a work?
At this point, no. No. We thought it was a work, but a lot of people have pointed this out. Ricky, you had pointed out the mentioning of the charity work and stuff. You don't do that if it's a work.
Yeah, that is the first thing I noticed, because at first when you were like, oh, it's a work, and I was like, okay, man, this is amazing. And then I was reading the was it Tony Khan who released the it was Tony Khan's press release, right? Yeah. And it was
Cody
when he
had his own
gets to that line,
and then Tony, they both mention it.
Yeah, they mention a charity work, and I'm like, that's weird. Like, it just seems out of place, and I don't know if bad taste is the right word, but it just doesn't feel like something a company would do, where they would actually mention the charities.
Yeah, if something wasn't work, no, there's no way, and especially AEW is sensitive to that kind of thing, so I don't think that would be something that they would do.
That is the only reason why I think this is legit. Until I see Cody, if they hadn't written the names of those charity organizations into the press release, I would have been like, okay, until I see Cody walk into a different company and step into a ring of, say, WWE, I will maybe think that this could be a work. But that made me think, like, there's no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what if it is a work?
Well, I mean, the people in the know said there were lawyers involved. That's not a work.
You think it's not a work?
I don't think it's a work.
I don't think it's a work. I mean, like, plus, if it was a work, I think they would have mentioned Cody a couple of times in AEW with this past episode of Dynamite, so I don't know.
Do you think that maybe Cody had already decided to move over to a different company, and maybe Brandy was just going to stay, but then she maybe realized it's not going to work because the crowd just hates her and decided that she just wants to break? It's possible.
It's entirely possible.
Well, the impression that I get from the stories that I heard was that lawyers getting involved was a relatively new development. So I think everyone really did think that it was going to all get worked out amicably, which is what makes me also think that there is like a third party involved already.
Right.
What do you mean third party?
Like there was a competing offer.
It
wasn't just at AEW.
The Fed, Rick, the Fed.
Well, I mean, WrestleMania is in Texas, and his dad was born in Texas. Maybe he just wants to be in a big match in Texas where his dad was born.
AEW
like one of the greatest
AEW has been in Texas so many times.
No offense, but AEW is not. They don't have WrestleMania. WrestleMania is still the be all of.
It's a 3-year-old company.
Events. Yeah, but it doesn't matter if they're 20 years old. They will never have WrestleMania.
WrestleMania this year is struggling to sell tickets.
It doesn't matter. It's still WrestleMania. There's so much history in WrestleMania.
No
Every wrestler wants to grow up to be in WrestleMania. What? No, I can't. Like, look, there's a lot of things I don't like about WWE.
Neck, no knees. I don't know how they're expecting him to wrestle, but okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I don't like about WWE right now, but like, there's just so much to still like about the company. WrestleMania is still like, I mean, last year's WrestleMania was amazing. Like, night one was amazing.
Okay, night one. Night two was
night two was kind of like a bust.
That was a clusterfuck and a half.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I think all professional wrestlers growing up want to wrestle in WrestleMania. Like, it's the place to wrestle. Like, it's where Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Stone Cold, The Rock, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Rowdy Piper, the biggest of the big. You know,
yeah, but we're slowly losing the generation that fantasize about those stuff. I don't know.
I don't think that is at all true. I don't think it's at all true.
I don't know.
WWE has a way bigger fan base worldwide than AEW.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with you. For sure, they have a bigger fan base than AEW.
I'm willing to bet that more percentage of the AEW fan base watches WWE as opposed to vice versa. Like, in terms of like percentage, you know what I mean? Like, I still think, like, if I'm a wrestler, I'm Cody Rhodes, hell yeah, I'm going to want to wrestle WrestleMania.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like AEW fans are wrestling fans, and WWE fans are WWE fans.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I don't want to sound like the Uber, like as if like AEW fans are like the super fans, because like we enjoy real wrestling, kind
And that's
of.
why we will watch WWE,
Yeah,
because there are good matches
they're
there
yeah
from time
they're
to time. It's not
they're
my favorite storytelling, but
hmm
they absolutely have fantastically talented wrestlers.
yeah, they have great talented wrestlers. It's just when they do segments, going in blind dates and stuff,
I'm
I
not
could.
super keen on watching a spelling bee in the wrestling show.
Yeah.
Although that segment did look very funny, to be fair.
All I'm saying is, if I was Cody Rhodes and Vince McMahon was offering more money and a big match at WrestleMania, I can always go to WWE for 2 years, 3 years, and then go back to AEW.
Yep.
Like, no one's stopping him from not going back to AEW.
No, it's not. You're totally right. I mean, like it by the sound, but it's the looks of things. I mean, it doesn't look like Cody burnt any bridges or anything. So I'm sure Tony Khan is going to be forever grateful for what Cody brought to the company.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the question is that what kind of push is Cody going to get in WWE? Will he succeed? I mean, I can only hope nothing for the best for Cody. I mean,
He is very talented, and he worked very, very,
yeah.
very hard to get where he is. Like, you
hmm
can't take that away from the guy. Like, yeah, he's got an ego, but like, he freaking earned it
hmm
to a certain degree.
I mean, if they bring back Stardust, though, I mean, I'm just gonna be like, wow.
Look, there's no way.
There's
Look,
no
there's got to be something in the contract where he basically states that I'm going to get a certain amount of money. I'm going to have whatever.
And no Stardust.
No
for
face
real.
paint, no jumpsuit.
You know, if Cody Rhodes is smart, he would pair himself up with Paul Heyman, because Paul Heyman is like, that guy is incredible. Paul Heyman, if I can steal anyone from WWE, he would be at the top of the list. That guy's incredible.
Yeah, but Cody doesn't need a manager.
Paul Heyman seems to keep wrestlers in check and I don't know, he sort of saves them from doing like stupid things that freaking Nick Khan and
He
Vince McMahon
didn't do much to stop CM Punk during those days, but that's a different story.
I still think that a lot of what happened to CM Punk is partly CM Punk's fault.
No,
I think
of course.
relationships go
100%.
like, 2 ways, and I think that I don't think he's at all innocent for what happened to him.
No, but I mean, sidetrack. Paul Heyman loved that CM Punk could do what he did, so that's why he let him do what he did. See, it's like Paul Heyman is a bit of a shit disturber himself. So anyway, yeah.
So, do you think that Vince McMahon is going to let Cody Rhodes keep his tattoo?
I mean,
But can't you see it already? The giant 3-dimensional hologram over the ring as Cody makes his entrance.
oh my god.
I would love to see Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton for the world title, but Randy Orton doesn't have the championship right now. But I mean, those two
they're gonna
guys.
put him in that's almost not a question of who his first program is going to be with. It's I don't even watch the program anymore, and I know it's going to be Randy Orton.
Oh, it should be. It's got to be. Because they're all part of the same class. It was the class of 2000, I think. It was him, Cena, Orton. Like Batista came soon after. It was Lesnar. Like that whole group of wrestlers. Like, wow, what a roster.
I mean,
the tattoo's got to go.
It's
gonna make him take it.
Listen,
he's gonna make him get rid of it.
Listen, the money he might be getting. I mean, if I was Cody, I'm like, I want full creative liberties. I don't know. We'll see.
So, if he does go to WWE, when?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It sounds more like when more than if.
Could we get it as soon as Monday night?
I mean,
it's not because they're in Saudi Arabia right now, so
yeah,
it's not going to be this week.
Yeah, but there were some. Again, these are just rumors and speculations that he could start recording promos at the Performance Center this week. So who knows?
Interesting.
they could wait till WrestleMania, but I don't think they're gonna want to wait because he
No.
could make an appearance at WrestleMania and just blow the roof off the stadium.
I don't think so. I mean, right now, by the sounds of it, I mean, they just signed freaking Stone Cold Steve Austin. Well, not signed, but they
Well,
got him
hold on
into a match.
second. Let's not make me jump through the roof here, okay? He's coming back.
He's
For
come.
one match apparently.
Yeah.
Against Kevin Owens, so that's
Because they're not fucking selling any tickets. So
well, The Rock is teased that he's coming back too.
no, there's no way he's gonna come back.
Yeah, he teased it after the Super Bowl
Please.
on social media.
Please,
Yeah,
no.
I'm not joking.
I doubt it.
Aaron, it's going to be Cody Rhodes, The Rock, and
No,
Stone Cold.
No, I'm willing to bet.
WrestleMania is going to
He's
be
not-
lit this year.
He's not gonna be at WrestleMania.
All the AEW wrestlers are going to look at Cody and they're going to be like, "Damn, I want to follow him." And they're all going to leave Tony Khan. They're going to go to.
But that would be like, but that is Vince McMahon's wet dream right now. Is that he could just imagine, like, it's just. I mean, that's why this whole Cody story is such a big deal, because it's like, how many.
They've been releasing people saying budget cuts, but we all know if Cody's going there, it's for suitcases full of money.
Mm-hmm. So, like, I think that's, I don't want to get to like the dark side of the story, but like, what does this mean for if they see the way Cody's getting pushed, the way the money he's getting? I mean, what does that mean for the rest of like? I think we all know that like WWE is certainly interested with Wardlow.
I mean, I think that MJF is going to end up at WWE in 2 years. I really do.
Mm.
I owe a year and a half. And the good news is Jericho signed his 2-year deal with Tony Khan. So at least they're keeping Jericho, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega. So out of like the original big guy, and I guess Hangman Adam Page is going to stay too, right? It seems like out of the original big guns, Cody's the only one that's going to leave. But can I just tell a quick story? So every like day on social media, I troll Aaron, and I'm always asking if he's going to watch WWE, if he wants to watch the pay-per-view events, if he's watching SmackDown. And Aaron always replies, "What? No? What? You hate WWE?"
No, wait, whoa! I never said I hate WWE. I just say no until there's a storyline that interests me, or maybe until Roman Reigns fights someone else different for once.
And I always reply with a meme from Star Wars about you're going to eventually join the dark side. And then Stone Cold gets announced at WrestleMania, and all of a sudden Aaron wants to fly to Texas to watch WrestleMania.
Because it's freaking. When are you gonna see this again? When?
So you want to go to the dark side?
I have no problem going to the dark side. Just make it fucking tempting. That's all it is. Make it interesting. I just tuned into Raw a couple of nights ago, and I was watching a segment with the freaking what's the
Let me guess. The wrestler who's basically Jigglypuff from Pokemon.
No, it was.
Have you seen that wrestler?
No, it was.
So you guys know who Jigglypuff is, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a wrestler in WWE, and the whole entire gimmick is she makes people fall asleep in the ring. All right, I found it. It's Karen Q. Karen Q's sleeping gimmick is one of WWE's dumbest ideas ever.
Okay, so she's
Karen
on
Q has
NXT,
undergone
right?
a few character changes. She used to be an NXT brand, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because I only know of her because some like dirt sheet was trying to refer to her as like WWE's answer to Orange Cassidy, where it's like a lazy hipster thing where she's always sucking on bubble tea.
Yeah, so basically her name now is Wendy Chu.
Yeah.
And her gimmick centers around her character falling asleep.
So she's narcoleptic.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
Okay.
What were we talking about?
Going to the dark side.
And Cody Rhodes is going there?
I mean, to be fair, she is very similar to Orange Cassidy.
Right.
I'm kind of into it. Well, I just want more Asian girls wrestling anyway, so.
Man, I'm going to miss Cody Rhodes in AEW. I hope he eventually comes back. But here's the last thing I'm going to say for this very podcast. And I said this on the very first episode of this podcast way back in 2020. Competition is good.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I want to see. And I know it kind of sucks when one of your favorite wrestlers goes from one company to the next company. But if it makes WWE better, if it makes Cody better, and if it allows more television time for some of, the up and coming wrestlers like Jungle Boy, for example, it could be a good thing for everyone. And I we made fun of Brandy like 2 weeks ago. Well, not made fun of her. We were like her
Criticize
promo
her,
sucked.
'cause-
It sucked. Yeah, we criticized her. And I don't like to see Brandy treated that way, by the fans. It makes me sad.
No. And there was stuff coming out where people oh, everybody backstage hates Brandy, and then all these wrestlers on Twitter no, we don't. Why are you saying that? As I was telling my husband, who definitely felt the betrayal like Aaron, or just the surprise of it is oh, he was a guy, he was Mr. AEW, and then now he's gone. This was a big hit for AEW. He was a founder, he was an EVP, he had some of the best matches, he was easily one of the biggest stars at the start.
Right.
It's a big hit.
It is
but
a big
AEW
hit.
is gonna survive it and be better.
Do you think that if he were to go to WWE, that he would cut any kind of promo in which he would throw shade at AEW? Just not because he actually means it, but just kind of
Oh, I'm sure some writer is going to try and shoehorn it in to pop Vince. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I don't know, because WWE does not like to acknowledge the fact that they exist.
Right. But you know how Cody likes to break the fourth wall.
Yeah, and do not forget that Cody did say, "I am the Forbidden Door." So, I mean, that is why a lot of people think it's a work.
No, he just meant that as in, he went and worked at all the indies and got them to work together. But
I'm sure we all wish nothing but the best for Cody. I mean, yeah.
Thanks for all the fish. So long. On that note, I think it's time to call it a night.
What fish? What are you talking about?
Okay, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Okay?
Oh.
Okay. I'd really like to thank everyone out there in podcast land for listening. If you do have a chance or feel so inclined, if there's a way to rate and review on the platform you're listening to, maybe tell a friend who likes wrestling that they should be listening to us talk about wrestling. Most of all, I want to thank my co-host, Mr. Aaron Santos.
No problem.
And of course, the ravishing Ricky D.
And just a reminder, you can find the podcast over at talkaew.net. And you can find us on Twitter. It's Talk AEW Podcast. And you know what? I'm actually going to try to kick up the Instagram account. I think I'm going to play around with it. So, yeah, go follow us on Instagram at Talk AEW Podcast. But, yeah, the podcast is everywhere on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Amazon, you name it. Talkaew.net.
Goodbye.